two are getting rough. My mind just sounds like Shia LaBeouf. It says no, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
All right, that was faster. I didn't even need a countdown clock. Papa Frida was ready, and we are good to go right now in our back-to-back matchup of PeskyCashew set of matches. Let me real quick update the title real quick because we are not having Triple Nipple versus PeskyCashew anymore, and then we'll start the game right away. All right, titles update. We're gonna begin right now with the first match on a Corvid Pass. Good luck, players. Hope you enjoy watching.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go!
Alrighty, just like the last series of matches, the first map is beginning on this very cold and rigid map, Corvid Pass. You see Pesky's playing a different character from his last series. He's going with the Gallon German Infantry Division, while Papa Frida is going with the US Armor Division, Beaumont. You can see both are kind of focusing on the units they are both designed for. Papa Frida is going with the tanks right away, taking artillery combo to kind of get a foothold of this bottom lane. Meanwhile, PeskyCashew is focusing on the top lane with a couple of infantry trucks. We have a bazooka trooper truck and a basic infantry truck to flood this lane with some little bit higher power infantry, as well as the now same combo that Papa Frida did, the classic tank and artillery combo to push this lane out further. So we see both players are focusing their respective different lanes here. Papa Frida is adding a fire just for good measure to keep the lane pushed out. Very smart way to push out a lane without sending any slow armored units. He might lose this fire though. Nope, he sent out another fighter out from his base and is now trying to target Cashew's base and will lose it to the ground base AA. Well baited by Cashew at this time. Let's see, speaking of bait, let's see if anyone will be able to bait this crate to be in their inventory. Looks like Cashew does get the first one, just barely, with the artillery that does fall right away because there was a tank that Papa Frida sent up there right away to deal with the artillery. So we do see Papa Frida. He is smart enough to realize what units he should be targeting what in this early game, and almost gets that crate despite having almost no foothold of this hill. So Cashew looks like he is saving up his money, so we might see some early upgrades right away. Nope, he instead sends a couple fighters right away. Meanwhile, we see the bazooka troopers are kind of on their own, doing enough damage to this basic infantry coming out from Papa Frida to push the lane out. Papa Frida is still responding with the fighters. You can see the bazooka troopers only really go down to half health and require 2 full bursts from a fighter strafe to go down. So you can see they're not only stronger in firepower, they're stronger in HP as well. But in this bottom lane, Papa Frida has just been pushing with his artillery placed very well. This is also a very well placed artillery. He moved it up right over here. It is going to go down though due to this defensive artillery taking it out. But at least allowed the infantry a little bit of time to get a little bit of damage on the towers, but that will pretty much end now that this defensive artillery did not go down. We are seeing the second drop already in 2 minutes 40 seconds. Looks like it is going to spawn right in the middle. Cashew has a unit coming out, but not quick enough. Papa Frida does get the second crate. So it looks like both players are 1-1 in getting the extra money that they do so desperately need to take control of this game. Interesting, we see a ground AA from Papa Frida. We've been seeing a lot of supposed air control from both sides, trying to send out fighters to push lanes out even further. So I guess this is Papa Frida's response to all these fighters without losing fighters of his own. It's also a good way to allow his fighters to keep pushing the infantry waves. Having this AA more of a defensive position for his own fighter gives him the advantage he needs to keep his lane pushed out. We are seeing an artillery coming out from Papa Frida's base. He lost that one earlier, and you can see due to the fact he lost that, the infantry have been gaining a foothold, especially with some bazooka troopers spawning on this lane now as well as the other lane. So on their own, the infantry are just doing, multiplying and doing very well against this basic infantry in this lane. Very scary troop truck placement right now. Probably wasn't good when he had control of the lane, but this will go down in just 1 second. And there it goes. Oh, I hope they had insurance on that. Well, I was so focused on that troop transport, there was that artillery that was supposed to push out the lane that was being pushed out by those bazooka troopers, but Cashew replied with this this small artillery truck of his own right in the middle here. He was able to take out that artillery that was so focused on the infantry in the lane. So there's nothing to really push out this lane except this fighter that will do an all right time at that, but we'll have to do a couple passes just to wipe out everything. Meanwhile, on the other lane, we are seeing ATGs come out. That one is looking deployed, even though it's not. Kind of looks like that Jeep is slowly dragging it. Like, come on, man. Can you at least undeploy? What is going on right now? But it looks like he is trying to put in a middle placement. Probably in a way to get free shots onto a tower. Oh, God, where'd it go? That ATG went flying. Don't know if this is the same one or not, but yeah, the Jeep was taken out, and that ATG did go flying. That much I can definitely confirm. Good placement of this artillery. Pesky is not noticing this with all these tanks. They're just taking free damage from this artillery. As soon as Pesky notices this, he'll probably send one in and take it out. He might not even need to. Oh, there it is. Goodbye, artillery truck. Speaking of artillery truck, Papa has finally sent one back over here. This time it's living a lot longer. Maybe not for very much longer. You can see Pesky micro this tank around. And will hopefully take out this artillery for himself. And he does. That just causes a lot of issues just purely on the infantry equilibrium. It's better to have these artillery on these nice hills on this map to keep the infantry pushed. And it did pretty well for the time that was out. See a tank as well in this lane, as well as these basic troopers. They will be able to start doing some damage to these towers, and hopefully the tank will be able to take out any of these bazooka troopers that are getting focused. But the tank is focusing the tower, so it might be a better target for it. It's a debatable situation for sure. Definitely tank is probably what you want to target though, as the tank there. You can see in this lane here, still a lot more infantry just pushing without really anything else, but we are seeing a couple infantry as well to make the pushing even easier for these infantry. There were a couple tanks here, now there's only 2 left. They are just defending this area and make sure any crate drops that do come over here will not have any chance to get sniped by a Jeep. Perfect timing talking about that, because we are seeing what I believe is the 3rd crate drop of this map. There's also a Calliope on the field. We'll check that out as soon as we see who gets this crate drop and who gets all that free dollar. And yeah, like, that's exactly what I was talking about. They will go probably to PeskyCashew. Having those couple tanks there just gives them that free reign over that area and the free money that goes along with it. As I said earlier, there was a Calliope out on the field. You can see it's making her way back to the base for whatever reason. But it doesn't matter because there's another one out now going on this side. So this is a very good map for the Calliope due to all these ridges and the long range. It's only a small to medium-sized map, so that alone will also give this Calliope more range to take out these artillery and tanks that are just perched up on these good choke points. You can see he also matched it with a normal artillery to push out the lane. I'm guessing this is so the Calliope can focus on all the armor targets while this artillery truck that is going to get bombarded pretty soon. Nope. Calliope is now in the other area over here. Kind of dangerous with these tanks approaching it, but the Calliope was taking free shots at the tanks in the middle, and I think these tanks are going to go down as well up on this hill. So these Calliopes are just doing very well, taking out all these choke points that were being held just by these basic armor units from Cashew. A very even game. The infantry has kind of been like even on both sides, really. Barely getting past that those small ridges into the what we call the Corvid passes, where the units cannot really go left or right, can only go straight. So very even matches. Calliope on this side does go down, and we are seeing the first base V2 rock, or I should say artillery barrage, coming out from Cashew, trying to target these annoying bazooka trooper trucks and infantry trucks. Looks like he gets a couple. This is scary. We are seeing the first tank destroyer. Actually, not the first, the second tank destroyer of the game. Sitting here defensively. Let's see if we can find the other one, where that one is. Hello, where are you, tank destroyer? Alright, the tank destroyer was going up this ridge, trying to take out this Calliope. He realized that's not a good idea. They needed that extra line of sight to take out the Calliope. And you can see he was taking some easy return fire over those trees. And now he's just sending both tank destroyers on that top lane. They will be able to take out those towers very easily, especially with these troop trucks out in the lane, spawning more troops and these masses of tanks. It'll be interesting to see what Papa Frida does about this. Currently, he has one defensive ATG gun parked in his base. Does a lot of damage to these basic tanks as well. It would be good if he matched it with a defensive artillery unit as well for that AoE damage, since the ATG gun does not do AoE, except for to infantry sometimes for whatever reason. Alright, those tank destroyers did finally make their way, and they're probably going to focus on the towers right now. They are, and that one on the left will probably go down one more shot if it is targeted. Currently, one of them is only targeting the infantry, though. We have two Calliopes defensively in the base. Once they make their way close to these tank destroyers will go down. But they are kind of only targeting the infantry right now, which is a huge problem for Papa. Alright, now it looks like they are targeting... Nope, still targeting infantry. You gotta make sure these things are microed onto the units that you want them to fire on, otherwise they will prioritize infantry. Alright, looks like they're finally firing upon this tank destroyer. It does quite a bit of damage, probably takes it less than half health. Oh, almost half health. And that thing will go down now. So good defense from Papa. Got no towers down from those tank destroyers because they were not focused onto the towers. Still one tank destroyer here in the back, just to give it a little more control of this area. It'll be very difficult for Papa Frida to take control. He has no really good air units to take out ground compared to what Gallon has, the dive bomber, where he can just easily fly above units and take them out. So he's going to rely purely on these Calliopes to hide behind these ridges and take them out. And this Calliope is going to go down by the long-range tank destroyer shots. We do have another crate drop right in the middle, and it looks like Cashew should be able to get this. He has a couple tanks running straight down the middle. There was a Jeep by Papa Frida, but he realized those things are not going to last long enough to be able to get that crate drop. Great placement from this Calliope, by the way. There's really only one way it can take shots, and that's from behind. The issue is he has to worry about these tanks coming from behind. There's a lot of tanks going straight down the middle. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks. And he notices right away, pulls back his Calliope. It takes only one shot from that tank coming near it. So he was able to get that out right away, and he does have another defensive Calliope in his base. He has 3 in his base, actually. which is why you are seeing the V2 rocket coming right for him. Let's see if he micros them fast enough. You can see he is focusing on the Calliopes to get out first, not really focusing on the troop trucks. And that is quite a lot of damage. That was like 3 or 4 troop trucks and an ATG gun. That's a lot of money lost for Frida. And he's going to lose this ATG, or not ATG, Calliope as well, because it walked right in the line of sight of the tank destroyer. Tank destroyer is going to go down by infantry, but it was still very worth it for Pesky to launch that V2 bomber. We are seeing some retaliation from another base attack, this time directly in the base. And I don't really think he got anything out of it, but I think it was dodged very well. There was only like, I didn't see much get actually shot down, unless they're not leaving a fire trail model, but doesn't seem like too much was lost, other than maybe a couple troop trucks. These tanks are just really seems like they're multiplying in the middle here. Probably shouldn't watch them for too long. Adult only content over there. All right. Meanwhile, we are seeing some of these troop trucks make their way outside the base into this fully, not fully, slightly controlled area. Be a very good opportunity to see a maybe a rush of an ATG gun into that lane to take out these troop trucks for free. All right. Now we are seeing more tank presence now at this point. But yeah, he's starting to branch out of his base with these troop trucks, mainly because I believe he is afraid. He's also very afraid of these Calliopes firing on his base right over here in this other lane that I've been completely ignoring. He has 2 on the field, and 1 is just in this lane, directly attacking the base, doing a lot of damage despite having all these defensive infantry troop trucks and the defensive artillery. Took the base already to less than 40%, 35% health. Insane amount of damage, honestly. Insane. And what does Cashew have to show for it? I mean, he has these this area covered pretty well. He does have the mid with all those tanks, and he is sending them in now. I guess he figures that one Calliope is down. There can't be any more, right? Where is the other one, actually? Let's go ahead and do a check. Really find that other Calliope that is on the field somewhere. All right, it's hiding right between these troop trucks right here, so it's purely defensive. Another defensive thing is trying to get this other loot crate. I keep mixing up words. And there's a tank here by Cashew, but he's not noticing it. This sheep just slips right on by and grabs it. So Frida will be able to spawn maybe another Calliope, which is what it looks like he's about to do. Yep. 3 Calliopes on the field, 1 being defensive and 1 being sent straight into the middle of the map, and the other maybe sent to lane as well. I think Cashew at this point just wants to get at least one of these Calliopes to the other side, directly on the base, and it will take it out pretty much instantly. And I might be having a stroke. That is completely correct. All right, all those tanks that were in the middle now are having some issues from this Calliope being sent in the middle. It will not take very much time to die as long as they're this Calliope is microed well enough to keep out of their main fire. Speaking of main firing, they are firing the ignition for that V2 rocket. Probably going directly for the base yet again. Takes out quite a bit of units yet again. Very good V2s from Cashew in this game. Takes out ATG defensively and a bunch of troop trucks as well. You can see as soon as he did that, he is sending in a couple of tanks as well. There's no towers to defend against this, just this Calliope that he will, not just 1, but 2 Calliopes he will have to deal with right away. Let's see how he does. Trying to send these tanks right away for this 1 Calliope in the middle of the base. We'll maybe take it out. 1 more shot. Just barely survives with less than 5% HP. Even though he did get a very good V2 rocket, almost takes out 1 Calliope. Those troops will still not make it into the base as long as these Calliopes are alive. And the other lane, we are seeing this Calliope trying to get to the push this lane to the other side so it can do more damage with the volley onto the base. But this time there is a tank destroyer and a single fighter pushing out the infantry, and the tank destroyer did take out that Calliope that was just trying to fire upon infantry instead of the tank destroyer itself. So at this point, it's a race to who can get the highest tier unit to the other side at this point. I've not also seen any dive bombers. I guess we do have some on the field. Yeah, we do have this one over here. I've not seen it in action, I should say. I think the main reason for that is most of the units are in the base, so we've not really seen any chances for the dive bomber to shine without getting worried about taken down by these base AA. We see Frida is realizing they can't send this guy right into lane anymore, and is just sending it up this ridge, and we'll get free volleys. Meanwhile, this V2 will get some free damage as well. Oh, that is a very, very good one. Took out one Calliope and 4 different troop trucks, and nearly destroyed the second one as well. If he destroyed this one, that would have been just so much money that Papa did lose. Barely surviving. One bazooka trooper, just stray bullet would hit that thing, and that thing's going down. We're just seeing all this troop presence that was kind of keeping these lanes back just a little bit, just slowly getting inched away by these V2 rockets. Very good placement of this Calliope. As long as he keeps going up this ridge and notices these tanks that might be going for it pretty soon here, this lane will be pushed out in no time. I'd like to see some ground AA trucks. We are seeing a ton of fighters and dive bombers floating all over the map like a mosquito swarm. And there's really nothing that can easily take out the ground AA unless this tank destroyer does go through the middle for the extra defensive push. Right, so there's now no easy place for a ground AA to go except for this top ridge that another tank destroyer is making its way to. We're seeing a good micro from both players, both trying to get a good line of sight for both their units. Just barely, that tank destroyer is going to get one line of sight, probably shot on it. Nope. Barely gets out. The other one does take it out. Looks like it takes 3 tank destroyer shots, which we just saw just now. Alright, looks like Papa Frida is going to go with a long haul, hopefully. I don't think this is going to work as much as he thought. Trying to take out the base with the artillery barrages will only do about 5% damage to the base. These tank destroyers are now at the base. We were talking about how this is a race to get the highest units to the other base. And it looks like Cashew is winning. Despite the low base health, he does have these 2 tank destroyers exactly where he needs them. He has all the air support he needs in case there's any Calliopes that want to go at them, or any rare Jeep rushes we see that can do pretty okay against tank destroyers. Maybe not 2 of them. But now they are firing upon the base. He's ignoring the tower completely. They are taking damage from the infantry, and they will take quite a bit of damage, but might be too late. Nope. Calliope is going to take out both of them very quickly. Another V2 bomber. Let's see if they are as worth as the other ones. Alright, this was just purely a retaliation base attack. We saw Papa Frida with the artillery barrage just a minute ago on his base, so I guess Cashew was like, well, I'm going to do the same to your base. You can see just about the same amount of damage is done, 5%, 5 to 10% onto the base with base barrages. Not the best use for them unless you are for sure going to have the game last forever. Which, you know, only happens to me in Heathens games, really. Not in a lot of these league matches. Alright. Alright, I'm going to let you guys watch this real quick. I have a quick important phone call. Alright, another V2 rocket. We're just seeing the old Spork strat of just sending out rockets right when you have a really good control of the lanes you're pushing. We just keep seeing now ATG guns and Calliopes defensively trying to hold back these tank destroyers. Very good at telling people, hey, I'm doing something, don't call me back. But yeah. Alright, we're seeing a few tanks and another artillery barrage coming from Papa Frida. He is targeting the tanks, but it looks like he's going to miss completely, only hitting infantry units. Does get one fighter show for it, so that's something. But these tanks are going to walk in the base, and with only this ATG to fire at it, and this Calliope that just now went down, this might be it. Once they lock onto the ATG, it'll only take a couple shots, but they are locking on the base instead. He doesn't even care anymore. Cashew's like, I just want to finish this game and try to micro them, but then they micro to the infantry, and one more shot from the tank, maybe? Nope. No matter. Looks like we're seeing a dive bomber gonna go for the base, but I do not think it's gonna survive long enough to get that bomb dropped on the base.
Might as well close the refrigerator door.
Good effort. Very rare that we see dive bombers actually attack bases. I'd like to see that more, honestly. Alright, looks like we're seeing another V2. This time I'm guessing it's gonna go directly for the base again. Oh, he got a crate at the same time, so he's getting a second V2. And he's going to also attack it with that tank destroyer that's just outside his base. This is going to be it, folks. V2 finisher.
It's all over now. We lost. I ain't happy.
So that is a V22, boys, and that's how it ends. Pesky is now 1-0 over Papa Frida, but both players were playing very good. Same level, skill level, I would say, for sure. Both microwing very well against each other. And it really only came down to, like I said earlier in the match, who got the highest tier units to the other base faster. So we're going to try to hop into our next match, and I'm going to try and take a drink before I die of, you know, I'm going to die. All right. Alright everyone, we are now about to start match 2 of PeskyCashew versus Papa Frida. Let's go ahead and start the game. Both players are loaded in, ready. We'll be on Maginot! Maginot! Magine! Big map of hell and death. Alright, let's go.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go!
Alright, we are seeing the first mirror match of tonight's games. It will be Beaumont versus Momont. I guess both players highly enjoy having ATGs fire across the map all over these flat landmarks. So that'll be great to watch. It'll be very interesting to see how a Beaumont mirror match on this map, which I've not seen before, plays out. So we can see both players are already sending out all the units they need. A couple troop trucks from both sides. A single fighter from Papa Frida yet again. Kind of get that free push out on the infantry. Cashew is already sending out fire to try to take out this one offensive fighter that's fending on the infantry. We got audio. Alright. And looks like Papa Frida this time is now trying to be the one to bait the fighter. Unlike last time, it was actually Pesky that baited Papa Frida's fighter into the base. So this time they're both even in terms of baiting each other's fighters. 1-1. I always like to see that. I don't know why. I'm this terrible human being. I like watching people bait fighters into their base. Alright, looks like PeskyCashew is tired of the baits and now they're going straight for 2 fighters to make sure no fighters will be able to do anything anymore from Papa Frida, at least for the early game. Alright, so we see PeskyCashew has 1 X marker covered by a tank in case it spawns in the next minute or so. That may or may not spawn. And meanwhile, we have Papa Frida sending artillery unit in this bunker area. Get some free pushing onto the infantry that is going to keep pushing in this good lane. Also has some tank pressure as well. I would use that more defensively for the artillery rather than having it in lane. Looks like he is doing so now. He actually looks like he's sending it for Cashew's tank. Trying to give some free pot shots onto that so he can gain control of the middle lane as well as this side lane. Meanwhile, we see those early troop trucks presence happening right here in this bottom lane. We saw Cashew did have a single artillery here, but for whatever reason is not firing quick enough to get all these bursts of units out. So this lane is pushed out pretty heavily for Papa Frida. Alright, I talked about earlier how Papa Frida was trying to take out that one single tank with that tank and ended up getting double teamed by another tank from PeskyCashew. So you can see here, that's all that's left of a double teaming. Alright, first crate drop of the game right here at 2 minutes 30 seconds around there. Looks like that might go to Pesky, going straight in the middle where Pesky has a lot of his units already there. Unless this Jeep somehow manages to get through all these units and snipes his crate, which looks like is going to happen. Cashew didn't notice till just now. Sure, he's kicking himself right now for that one. So Papa Frida does get that free $15. Maybe he's going to spend it to upgrades. But it looks like he's spending it more on troop trucks. You can see six troop trucks mostly on this right lane. You can see they're outside his base, not just in the base. He's realizing this is a large map, so I don't really need to keep them all in my smaller base. Takes a lot of time for Cashew's units to get over there to try to deal damage to these troop trucks. Yeah, the first crate drop is usually $15. I think the second is around $20. And from there on out, it's like, I think it's just like always $25. We see Papa Frida is back at it with his fighter trying to mow down the infantry. Is getting microed by or auto attacked by this single fighter. Not for long though. Looks like Papa Frida is like, alright, if you want to auto attack me, I'm just going to purely attack you with these double fighters. And that will go down pretty soon here. One more burst from a fighter and that thing is going down. Boom. Speaking of boom, the first ATG of the game. First right here behind this bridge. We'll get very good shots on any infantry or tanks that come along this way. Pretty sure we'll soon see some ATGs around this area as well because they can shoot across these ravines. And that can be very scary for any units trying to travel across these bridges. See what let's see if Cashew, he has only 3 troop trucks, so focusing more on the early upgrades and the heavy armor pushes, while Papa Frida does like the infantry push as well, and it is working for him pretty well. Cashew's trying to send out this artillery, but it is getting fired upon by these infantry, so that will go down for free basically, showing the true value of a lot of infantry over time. So these things should be able to mow down any infantry coming from PeskyCashew's base. See, pretty soon this tower probably will take some damage. Even this tank is taking quite a bit of damage from these troopers. These are just basic troop truck troopers, showing the true power infantry in numbers. Alright, meanwhile on this side, we see the ATG doing some work. We saw a multitude of tanks being sent down the bridge, but even 2 tanks is not enough to deal with this one HEG. Gets it down to nearly 1 tank shot left of health. The HEG still survives and will continue firing upon its infantry for another day. Oh, that looks like a ball of infantry if I've ever seen it. Trying to get defensively shot at by PeskyCashew's fighters. Will probably do very well as long as they strafe the right correct areas. And as soon as these this ball of infantry coming from Cashew comes down, we're gonna see the first tower damage of the game for sure. Yeah, I do believe they can actually hit towers across from the ravine if they're placed here and around here, I believe. Not sure if it's on both sides though. I'm pretty sure they can from this one at least. Yeah, they're pretty disgustingly strong on this map. Especially in numbers when they can't really be stopped very easily unless from the air, so. Alright, as I said earlier, the tower did finally take its first damage from just purely infantry units. We are seeing the first Calliope of the game, though, coming from Cashew. He had all that money spent, saved up from not buying all these troop trucks, so now he'll be able to push this lane full of infantry very well. Very interesting to see a flame tank here. It's very rare that we see this. I'm very curious how much damage it does against Calliopes in particular. Not too much. Calliope will just keep out ranging it, and really showing the flame tank can only really do well against pushing the lanes of infantry and nothing else.
This is Hercules. Dropping cargo crate now.
Again, this top lane is just pretty much completely controlled by Papa Frida. It'd be interesting if he decided micro one plan to continue attacking the ATG from the air. Even though it doesn't do that much damage, it would do enough damage over time to take out the ATG, which would clear up that area, and it would probably catch Cashew off guard. We did see another crate drop happen. I do believe Papa did get it. I believe it spawned right over here. So that's another money. At least for some Calliopes, looks like that Papa Frida is now spawning. Both sides do have two Calliopes. One is purely defensive on Cashew's side. Here on this good ridge right over here. Both of them are actually on this ridge over here. Perfect time because one of Papa Frida's Calliopes is making its way across this lane. Without any microwing, this thing will go down pretty soon. Alright, we are seeing ATG from Papa Frida right over here. Not really doing too much. Looks like he took a few pot shots of that tank. And Calliope is going to finish off whatever's left of it. Looks like they did finally take down that ATG in the middle. I'm not sure really what killed it. But now that ATG is down, he's able to freely reign with these Calliopes as well. I can definitely see the flame tank being a huge problem for troop lane units. Alright, we're finally seeing use of this middle lane that if you have troop trucks spawned right near here, they will push extra infantry down this lane and to the other side's base. A little shortcut, but we do see Papa Frida does have... Whoa, what was that? We do see Papa Frida as well, sending infantry down this lane. Meanwhile, Loot Crate is also being sent down. See which side it goes. It's going straight down the middle where Cashew does have a tank here precariously perched, and looks like that thing will survive just long enough, barely. Take some free money for Cashew. So now as a battle of Calliopes, we have 4 on Cashew's side and 2 on Frida's side. Despite the fact we talked about how ATG seem very strong on this map, we're just seeing mostly a battle of wits and Calliope on this map right now. This lane was originally super powerful for Papa Frida purely due to the troop trucks, which he will need to want to move. He's going to want to move these guys out of there. We were talking about how this is a safe area for these guys due to how long it takes for Cashew's units to reach over here. But he does take out one purely because because Papa Frida just did not notice that they were close enough to fire upon those troop trucks. So that's one down. Like more about to go too as well. Calliope versus Calliope. Basically whoever locks on first or whoever has 2 right next to each other. There's actually 3 right next to each other right now. Really, if they just go straight to the base, they might be able to end it right here now. We're seeing Papa Frida going quickly into defensive mode with ATGs. Oh, he tried to move. He realized he placed it a little too close to Calliope and tried to micro it away, but it's probably gonna be too late. He probably should have just let it at least get 1 firing shot before dying. Nothing to show for that poor ATG that just had barely any breath of life. Kind of funny seeing the Jeep, though, survive long enough to take a few pot shots at the Calliope. My dog's on my lap taking screenshots. Whoops. Stop taking screenshots, Peanut. Thank you. Alright, Calliopes are locked on to base towers, taking them out very quickly. I was talking about earlier how the Tiger tanks we saw in the last series seemed like they did barely any damage, especially in comparison to these Calliope units. These guys have no issues with base damage, that's for sure. And I think they're even faster than the Tiger tank as well. So outranged, outdamaged, and just out everything. This looks like it'll be the end for Papa Frida in the second match. There's not much he can do against 4 Calliopes. This is what we call the GG Calliope stack strat. And they are now locking onto the base. Here we go. Papa Frida is panicking, you can see it. Very unfortunate. He knows that's not much he can do against this. Trying to send out probably another ATG. But there's just too many Calliopes on the field. Even though they're not targeting the base, they will, and that will end the game. So it looks like the end of this game, and it will be PeskyCashew now 2-0 over Papa Frida. So this was just a pure pushing of Calliopes this game. He even had a couple more near his base, if you can see in the right side of the screen. So he just kept building them and sending them out as fast as he can. Where Papa Frida just did not have enough defenses or ATGs to really stop this from happening. Peanut, stop taking screenshots, Peanut. It's a cool game. Peanut wants me to learn from this game, so he's taking screenshots for me with his nose. Thank you, Peanut. Anyway, we're gonna get to our final match for MMR purposes of Papa Frida versus PeskyCashew, so stick around. We're just waiting on one more player to join in. Probably took a short break for some water or something, and he said he's joining the map, so just give us one more minute or two. Alrighty, everyone. We are now starting Game 3 of Papa Frida versus PeskyCashew VRML Season 1, Week 2. Casted by me, SadlyItsBradley, and my cute little adorable pupper, Peanut. Yeah, you're such a good boy. Yeah, so you no more screenshotting, okay? Yeah. Alright, so this map is St. Ulrich's. A very small map. Both players are actually, well, actually one player is changing it up yet again. PeskyCashew is going back to the Ritter German Air Division, similar to what he did in one game in our last series, where Papa Frida is sticking to the good old Beaumont U.S. Army Division yet again. Right away, he sends out one troop truck in the bottom lane and sends a single artillery into that top lane to get some free shots onto the infantry. Decides against it because he knows, oh god, there's a sniper plane. That thing's going to take me out without nothing. So good microing, realizing that it is a sniper plane. Usually it's kind of hard to tell the difference between them and normal fighters. So once he noticed it happening, he was able to pull it back right away. And really, this infantry from Papa Frida, despite not spawning from a troop truck, is already doing some pretty good damage onto this tower right over here. We'll take it about to probably 70% HP before going down. Maybe we'll see some 50% HP. Either way, the tower is on fire. And the same as same as Papa Frida's bottom lane. The artillery truck in the middle is taking pot shots into both lanes, allowing the infantry presence from Pesky to push forward. Alright, we did see a sniper plane get its name just then, despite the fact that that artillery was quote-unquote safely tucked away in its base, was able to take out that that artillery without really anything, any damage taken upon it. See PeskyCashew trying to get that full control of that middle, as one artillery behind the church ruins, as well as the two tanks also doing some free damage onto towers. Artillery truck targeted that ground AA, which is a pretty good target. Got one shot on it, and two more shots it would have went down. All right, in this side lane as well, that Papa Frida's infantry are trying to push back at this push that PeskyCashew's infantry was able to get some return fire onto this tower. So that lane will keep pushing out, probably from Papa Frida, due to the fact that he does have a troop truck in that top lane. This tower on the bottom is going down pretty fast with just purely the tank and artillery presence. Looks like Papa Frida might be saving up for something. Maybe we'll see a quick rush of a Calliope or some ATGs. One way to help with how many wire, Peanut? My wire. One way to help with getting that early upgrade is to maybe get this crate that is dropping. See where it's dropping. It's dropping straight in the middle where all of PeskyCashew's units are, and he even sends out an extra little motorcycle to get that first crate of the game. And my estimation was correct. We are seeing an early rush of a Calliope. Usually we see rushes from other divisions and not really the Beaumont division, but it's probably going to work out for him. You can see we already see Pesky pulling his units away from the middle. He did get one tower, base tower down onto Papa Frida's base. But this Calliope, as long as it is micro correctly and ground AA is in play, it is currently not. There it is. Should be able to get a lot of map pressure needed to get back in this game. You see his henchels are being sniper planes yet again, but there's two AA trucks trying to take them out as well. But these tanks right coming down this lane are going to take them out very easily without any damage coming back from them. They are finally getting damage from the Calliope, but I think this, just barely that ground AA truck survives. And both lanes are pushed up by PeskyCashew, just purely infantry. If we look at PeskyCashew's base, he does have only one single troop truck in his base, but they are enough to keep pushing the lane with this ground and our air presence. We're already seeing a second loot crate. Why do I have so much trouble saying those words? Loot crate drop. Currently, Pesky has complete control of the map. Motorcycle bottom lane, motorcycle middle lane with a couple tanks, and a tank in the top lane. It'd be very difficult for Papa Frida to get any of these crates, especially since it is spawning with the one with the tank parked on the X. So the second tower in Papa Frida's base is down, and this third tower might go down just the same very soon. We see the defensive artillery taking shots at these tanks that are taking free damage onto this tower. Tank is being microed away. I wonder if we'll see another sniper plane do its thing very soon here against that artillery truck, which will allow any units from PeskyCashew to push forward even more. Despite Ritter being an air division, we're seeing a ton of armor, a ton of artillery, just showing how useful it might be to spam out ground units, even for these air division. It doesn't cost too much for Ritter to especially build tanks, only $7, despite the US air division, it costs $8 per tank, so a little bit better. We haven't even seen any half tracks from PeskyCashew, which is a unit that can shoot at 4 different targets at once, but there's no targets for it to shoot at right now, so we're just seeing the bombardment of tanks and artillery. We have a lot of troop trucks being spawned by Papa Frida in his base. You can see that lane is showing for it very well. There was a couple tanks here, but they just got shredded by the infantry and the planes taking out any defensive infantry to allow the infantry to focus on these tanks. This motorcycle will also go down in a blink of an eye. Speaking of going down, maybe these troop trucks are going to go down. We can see Papa Frida desperately trying to micro these trucks away from this one corner. But 3 of them do go down. That is $8, $12, $8, $16, $24. So kind of painful. I mean, not going to have as much troop presence in that lane for just a little bit unless he wants to rebuild. And Pesky's spending $28 or so on that base nuke. Gets $24. So not... It's a so-or-so trade. It will allow PeskyCashew to push that bottom lane again once more without all the infantry just spamming out of those trucks. We can already see that the lack of trucks has allowed Pesky's infantry to push further, especially those tanks just kind of guarding that bottom lane. Alright, we see another Calliope out on the field. Henschel's already locking on the troop trucks that are a little bit too far away from the base. There's no ground AA to be seen currently from Papa Frida, so these Henschels are going to basically... Oh, never mind, they are not going to get these for free. There are fighters coming out from Papa Frida's base. Fighters are probably even better against these Henschels than the ground AA, as we're seeing here. But not if they follow the Henschels into the base AA. Which begs the question, who builds 2 bases right next to each other? These are some crazy... The USA and Germany are crazy, I guess. This is so close to each other. Just fighting for a single church but build 2 headquarters right next to each other? That's crazy. That's like a Walmart and Target right next to each other. Which I actually had like that happen in Philadelphia. There's a Walmart and Target right next to each other. That was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, as we continue talking about the game, we see the Calliope doing damage on these tanks in the middle. Artillery from the base also getting pot shots. Does take out one of the tanks. We'll maybe take out a couple of these tanks. We see ground AA from PeskyCashew trying to take out these fighters that were annoying his Henschels earlier in the game. And barely dodges this Calliope blast. So we do see Papa Frida, despite having a very scary early game, is crawling his way back in with these Calliopes that he built and the troop trucks. We see high value troop trucks from Papa. He's been seeing a lot of these games. He does spawn a lot of troop trucks that keep those lanes pushed out. But those Henschels are going to take out this Calliope with really no issues. Even with a single fighter strafing this might take it out. And there it goes. The Henschel does go down by these fires, but now these fires are also getting taken down by the ground AA. So we have full air superiority from Cashew, the Ritter player, once again. We are seeing a couple of Jeeps trying to come out and take out these ground AA, but it is not working. There's artillery just locked onto one of them, the one in front, and so by the time the second one got near it, it blew up. So kind of lucky in a way, but also why you can't really just send out units, spawn to a marker, and expect them to automatically kill the thing you want. This time it might work. Yep, there you go. Only took one shot from that Jeep MG to completely take out the artillery. We're seeing more air battles happening. As soon as he took out the ground AA, he decided, hey, I gotta send out fires to take out these Henschels, and that's what we're seeing here. But the Henschels and the fighter that's protecting it does take out that offensive fighter. So we're seeing a ground division trying to take go air to air with the air division, and over time that will cost a lot of money for Papa Frida. Speaking of money, let's get another loot crate. It looks like it's going to spawn in the bottom, or I should say the top lane, I believe. Nope, I'm always wrong. That shadow just confuses the heck out of me every time. It is going to spawn in the bottom, so I clearly kind of was right. And this motorcycle is already perched right here in this lane. And money. There you go. Goes straight to PeskyCashew's bank. Alright, so we're starting to see more pushing from PeskyCashew's units, similar to what we saw in the beginning. These tanks got a little closer to the base. We're also seeing a couple artillery trucks coming from the garage right now. But a ton of tanks coming from Papa Frida's. $6 tanks are very cheap for him. But look at this medium bomber. This might be very devastating for these tanks. Devastating to one of them, at least. Did not drop all his bombs and only took out one of the tanks. Excuse me. And the medium bomber is almost taken out. This fighter might be able to do it. Just barely. Oh, just one little health. This fire might be going in suicide style for this medium bomber, and there it goes. Probably a worthy trade for two fighters, taking out that medium bomber that caused so much issue for his ground units. And we see two Jeeps coming out for this artillery. The tanks are not parked well enough in the ruins to protect this from happening. We're seeing the first half track of the game. I'm guessing purely just to rush in the base to take out this artillery. Maybe not even necessary. That Henschel that's about to die and will die takes out the artillery. But totally worth it for anyone that wants to push an attack on the base with infantry and these tanks. Which this last tower is on life support here. See how long it takes to come out. I probably will not be able to get destroyed from this tank once the tower starts shooting it. Or the infantry, at least this time. But, I mean, this is the last tower, and that goes down. This will just open so much opportunity for Cashew to get in this base. Especially with his, or not last tower, but these towers are both very low health. And when those goes down, we're probably going to see some half-track that is in the middle, taking shots from this artillery, rush in, and destroy any of these troop trucks that are in this base. They're very good at doing that, at least. They're very good at doing a lot of things, honestly. The more I watch half-tracks, the more I feel like they're good at doing things. Like killing this Jeep that barely got close to it. We're seeing a lot of Jeeps coming from Papa Frida. Looks like he's trying to micro them to the artillery and the weaker armored units, but we see PeskyCashew this time notices this and spans out his tanks a little bit better to deal with these Jeeps coming out. We're seeing an onslaught of tanks from PeskyCashew. I mean, why not? They only cost $7 for the Ritter class. 3 tanks is only $21. And they do quite a lot of pressure onto Frida's base. This looks like this tower will go down now. One more shot of this tank, maybe not even need it. Yep. And this one will go down as well. This is going to be the last tower for real this time. And there it goes. Oh, this base is completely open. Curious if we're going to see this half-track roll on in with anything. Take out these troop trucks and say he's focusing the tanks the infantry right now. But look at this defensive. Look at this. How this ground AA just made it out of the base somehow. Even taking fire from tanks and just tries to take out the air that's right above the middle. But now all we see is defensive jeeps, and looks like it seems that Papa might have given up here. I think he's realized that the game is kind of over. There's just complete, utter control of the map from Cashew, the ground and air, and he's just allowing his base to be taken from all these units. So this pretty much ends the series. Looks like that PeskyCashew will go on tonight, winning both series back to back. I don't even think that V2 or that. Okay, yeah. So congratulations, PeskyCashew, for winning both series back to back. Went 2-1 against Triple Nipple in the last series, and went 3-0 against Papa Frida in this series. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks for the players for playing. Good sportsmanship from all players. And I hope to see you in future games. As for me and Peanut, we're probably going to go to bed. Right, Peanut? You tired? Yeah, you're so tired. You're sleeping on my lap. Poor dog. And again, thanks for watching and have a great night.